Okay, so welcome everybody on this Sunday before Lag BaOmer. I think what we're going to do is we're going to start. Last week we was suggested that perhaps we should use this time to do some real processing, like what's the word? Chazara. I lose my English when I have Hebrew. Okay, so what we're going to do is last week we learned paragraph 16. So we're in this process of understanding the different mashalim and how they teach us about Hashem's light of Mimale Kol Almim, how Hashem's light works in this world. So before we go on to the next paragraph, I just want to give you the opportunity to use this time to take the text. I'm going to stop the recording and to go back over paragraph 16 and make sure that you understand it. You can do a summary. If you want to do a shortcut, I posted a summary on the WhatsApp group, but really the idea is to go back and to read the text and to make some kind of summary for yourself. What is the main point of the paragraph? Because every paragraph, he's really introducing a new idea or clarifying a new idea. He's really doing a lot of clarifying here. So I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to give you about 20 minutes. It's not a very long paragraph to read over to read the paragraph and to summarize it in some way for yourself. And then we'll see if there are questions before we go forward. Now, I can't see most of you, so I don't know if this is, really happening. So I would really, I mean, it could be just that you say, okay, I'm walking away. Then what's the point? So I want to know that you're actually doing it. Okay, I'm pausing the recording. I think. Okay, so now I just want to get feedback from people. What does that paragraph mean to you? What is the information that's being transmitted to you? And the second thing is, do you have questions? So Alkale, it looked like you were showing that you'd written a kind of a mind map of the paragraph. Can you share it with us?
Right.
Just
Well,
your words.
I just showed it to you, so you should realize I'm doing something.
Oh, okay. No, so now
I
we just want to share, like, what was, we want to know that with each paragraph, we kind of get the point. Because right now, it seems to me that with every paragraph, he's making one point. He's like, he's been speaking about Or and Chayus and Koach, but now he's going through and telling us, this works for this and this is how that works, just like going into more detail. So what is the detail that he's trying to communicate to us? Alkalea, you want to speak to that? Okay.
so I mean
Yeah.
I didn't get to the very last few uh sentences here, but excuse me. Basically, coming to the analogy uh of the vitality in the body, that there's a difference between that and the divine light, the divine light, because the vitality in the body is limited, can only be doing a certain thing at a time, and of course the divine light is not limited and can be in many places at the same time. Something like that.
Okay. Um, so I'm not going to say anything. I want other people to add to that or to confirm with that. Like Miriam, what did you understand? I don't know why I'm not hearing you. It must be because of your headphones, because you're not muted, but we don't hear you. I'm still not hearing you.
No, you can't hear?
Now I can hear
No?
you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. So it's very much of what Al-Khaleo was saying. And the divine power is compared. I wrote the coming into being from nothing to something, I think was what I was focusing on trying to understand. And then through divine power, it's compared to the power of an agent performing an action. And it can't, in the case of the, the true divine light, it is a continuous process, and it doesn't depend on an agent or it's continuous, and it's coming into being all the time. And what else? Yeah, basically, I've written pretty much that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Miriam. Yoni, what did you get?
I'm mostly confused. I did get what Al-Khalea was saying, and also that Hashem's light doesn't change from Malchus of Atzilus and right into Malchus of Asiya. And it also seems like I'm not sure why he's talking about the like comparing physical lights. Maybe he's talking about why the analogies are not like complete. That's what I thought maybe he's talking about, but I'm not sure. That's about all, but I'm finding it hard to picture the whole like the sequence in my head. I feel like if I don't get a picture, I don't really understand it. So
Okay. Let me just see. Who else would like to? Nechama. Thanks, Yoni. Nechama, what did you get? You muted. Nechama, you muted.
Sorry. Okay, so it brings me back to the question a few chapters ago that the philosophers asked, because that was the main thing that they couldn't see how the divine could be unchanged. And I think it explains it. The first thing that stood out for me was the difference between Chayas and Koach. That Chayas was the coming down of the divine light into the inner vessels, and Koach was to the outer vessels. And also explaining, using the example of the body, like if the ultimate of the Koach coming into Bria Yatira and Bria Yatira and Asiya is action. And a person can't do more than one action at the same time. Although, I don't know, we manage to multitask, but that's the physical reality. So the two things were one is the highest relating to the inner vessels and the koach relating to the outer vessels. And then the divine light coming from above which I think is probably Sovev, if I'm not correct. One is Mimali and one is Sovev, that's just unchangeable. And my question is, it keeps me wondering, are we getting both at the same time? It's like, is there a direct path from the divine light straight to us, and then there's all this differentiated stuff? So it seems like we're living in two worlds at the same time. But anyway, that's my... But I want to say that was it last week or the week before when we did the meditation. So on Shabbos afternoon, which is basically the only time I can take to review this. So the only chapter that I had printed out, the latest one was chapter 12. So I went over that and I did like your suggestion for the Ian. And I came up with the same visualization, which was like this cone-shaped thing, just coming down. So it's sort of in the same context.
Okay, good. So Mila, I'm not sure how we should go about this, because I feel from the descriptions that one of the challenges is that we're getting like there's what's Ikar and what's Tafel, and it's quite hard when you're going through the paragraph. There's a lot of details, and in a way, I'm not really hearing. I'm hearing bits and pieces, but I don't think I'm really hearing anybody saying exactly what the point of this paragraph is. So I'm wondering if we should go over it again and just like clarify it and point out, like what is the main thread and what are secondary threads. And now that people have read it, that they're more of a vessel. I think maybe we should do that rather than just, okay, so Sarah's saying, yes, please. It's not a very long paragraph, and then we can go on to 17. But just to clarify, because I'm not, I think he's saying something very specific and very kind of simple, but there's so many details that you can get lost. So let's do that.
Yeah, okay, good. So let's do that. Hi, everybody. Baruch Hashem, I'm having my Sunday morning. As restful as Shabbos is, for me, Sunday morning is a little bit interesting. And I also wanted to actually prepared something for you, something very practical about what we're learning. So I hope you'll enjoy what I'll share. But now we're going to go to paragraph 16.
Can you make it a bit bigger?
Let me try. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, we need to move on Mikol Hanal, right? And it follows from everything that we learned above. So he's summarizing at some point. שיש בחיnas or האלוקי דמלכוס דאצילוס מתלבשת בביאה שני בחיnas. That in the light that is coming down from the Malchus of Atzilus to the lower world, there are two aspects. Bechinas Chayus, which is the aspect of life force, which is the Bechinas of Malchus mitlabeshes bechinas Pnimis HaKelim, which is the aspect of Malchus, the way it encloses itself in the inner vessels of Kelim of Keser the Bria, right? I don't know if I should do that, but do you have any problems with the sentence?
Yeah, I do. I still do.
Who has problems with the sentence? Yeah, Miriam, let's go.
Yes, I did also when I went.
Okay.
Mariam,
Can you just explain the inner vessels of Keter again? Is it
Yeah,
are you talking about
the first one? What was that, Miriam?
No, I just didn't get that part. Enclose itself in the 10 inner vessels of Keter, of Bria in general. Can you just give us a very quick reminder of the inner vessels of Keter? Are we talking about the 10 meters that are? Can you just explain that? Sorry, I'm a bit blank.
Okay, good. But before I explain that, who has a problem with what he's saying? Who caught a problem here? Not a problem, but we would call it discrepancy from what he had told us previously.
I just can't, like, my mind just jumps around every time I read that sentence.
Okay, good, no problem. Now, who was able to catch something like, hey, wait a second, you told us something different before.
Okay, so I'll say it since I'm also the student here. So before in paragraph, I don't remember which one, he said that there's or, chayos, and koach, and that the inner vessels are or, the intermediary vessels are chayos, and the outer vessels are koach. Does that ring a bell for anybody?
We even, I think, had a diagram now on Canva about it.
Yeah, we did.
Meaning the Malchus of Atzilus divides into 30 Kalim. Who remembers that? The Malchus of Atzilus, right, divides into 30 Kalim, 10 inner ones, right? Exactly. That was one thing. Then he said, you know, she's coming in a way like this 30, Kalim. The 10 inner ones are the Pneumius Kalim, right? And that's or. Okay. Then the intermediary ones, they become the Chayus. Okay. And the external ones, they become the Koach. So now, all of a sudden, he's saying something different. Let's read it again. Okay, oh, this one with it. Bechinas Chayus, right? The first aspect, meaning he says, generally, we're not going to go now into details about 30 kalim, this and that. And generally, we could divide it into two. What is it? Bechinas Chayus, right? The aspect of Chayus, that this is the Malchus, Mitlabeshes, Bechinas Pnimius HaKelim. Here, I'm highlighting it. Like, wait a second. She becomes, the Chayus is Pnimius HaKelim of the Keter of Bria, Biklal, in general. Ubifrat, and in particular, the Yud spheres B'Biyah. Okay, B'Pnimius HaKelim Shebahem. Second time he's repeating himself. In the Pnimius of the Kelim that's in them. Right? And a person might be like, wait a second. Didn't we just say previously that it's aspect of the or in Pnimius of the Kelim? Before, yeah? And that's what it seems to be. He's specifying, and I think for this reason, again, this is just my speculation. I did not see a clear answer for why is he doing this, but it seems to me that he is specifying something. Okay, then what happened to the or being previous?
Well, wait a minute. Doesn't Chayus come from or?
No, for sure it comes from or. But
So-
here he wants to differentiate that there is two aspects, the pneumius and chitzonius. And there's intermediary that connect both of them, and it's coming from a higher source.
I thought that he was saying that there's the or that comes directly to us, and then there's the or that comes through Chayus and Koach and all the rest. That I mean, that was my question also, but I didn't
No,
see
the
it as
thing
a
is that it's
contradiction.
coming as all three. Let's not get, it's not ilu v'alu. You see, the hishtalshelus comes from cause and effect. It's not like it's first or, then it's chayus, then it's koach. No, it's three at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we should not think that it's cause and effect. It's not cause and effect. It's like the properties of the light, of the koach, of the light, of the chayes, and of the koach, they come like simultaneously. Okay, and that's why we need so many mashalim.
Mila, can I share the image that we made for the, or because people don't remember that, then all of this doesn't, none of this makes
No,
sense.
but we could, but the problem is that we don't have an answer. This is one of those things that maybe later on we will see maybe he is answering why he's making that discrepancy. We don't know the answer yet, but we could definitely go ahead and
I understand, but just to establish what we're talking about to begin with, like if
Yes.
people have forgotten, so it says for some reason it said, oh, here we go. So this was back in chapter 13, where you had the 30 kalim of Atzilus becoming the neshama of each world. So there was the 10 inner kalim, the 10 emtsaim, and the chitzonim, and they became the inner world of each one. And we understood from what we learned previously that the inner kalim was the mashal of Or, the intermediate ones were the mashal of Chayos, and the external ones was the mashal of Koach. And then they became like the Or, the inner dimension of Malchus of Atzilus became the inner dimension of Bria. The Emtsai, which is like the highest level of Malchus of Atzilus, became the inner dimension, the Or of Yetzirah, or the Neshama. And the outer vessels, which was the level of Koach, became the inner dimension of the world of Asiya. So we understood that the inner dimension of each of the three worlds was coming directly from Malchus of Atzilus and was Elokus. And so now it seems strange if we would go back and see the details of what he explained to us here. Now he's saying that the internal vessel that comes down into, that's from Malchus or Atzilus, is not Or, it's Chayos. He says still that the outer vessels are Koach. But what happened here? Why is it now Chayos and not Or? So that's what seems strange.
Yeah, I'm sure there is an answer for that, but for now and in general we will see these places in Chassidus all the time. Okay, and my little understanding about it is that something that we have learned previously, that one thing that the Rebbeim would do very, very often is shatter the limited perceptions that we might have up until now. Because up until now, we might like, hey, we even have a slide. We got it. We're good. Okay. And when I was discussing this with my husband, he said, actually, for this reason, we don't really do slides like that. Okay. He's like, what do you mean don't do slides like that? It's like in Chassidus, we don't see much diagrams going on. Okay. We usually don't see it. Like, why? Because this diagram applicable only for that period of time and understanding that you're studying it. It's like a crutch in a way for you to kind of have a certain sense of what's going on. But later on, you go ahead and you go into deeper, that whole diagram crushes. It loses its meaning for you because you advanced already. It was good at that moment for you while you were putting yourself together from this abstract concept, and you're trying to just, get your senses about, okay, where am I? But that's not going to be good enough. And not everybody is ready for that flexibility. And that's what, we definitely should be open to. That everything what we discuss, it's for and understand, and we write down and we make a mind map or whatever tools we're using that help us understanding, it's for that moment. Okay, because things might shift, they will shift because we are shifting with it. Okay, and we would need to create something different, a different structure. Okay, and that is so beautiful because I'll tell you a little bit later. Okay, just remind me, like I just can't hold myself from sharing what I want to share. It's my
Let's
escapia.
go back and try, and we already went off too far to the edge.
Exactly. So let's go back. What is he saying? He's saying that Malchus of Atzilus, okay, when it encloses itself in the Bria Yitzir and Asir, she has two aspects. Okay. Let me share.
Okay.
I'll share because then it will be difficult for me to scroll.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought I had my screen shared. Okay. Right? It has two aspects. One aspect is the aspect of Chayus that encloses itself in the Pnimius HaKelim in general, or in 10 spheres in particular. Okay? And the mashal for this is from the way the soul enlivens the body. And the second one is the aspect of koach, that it's the godly light, which encloses in the external keli. Okay, and in particular, the kelim chitzonius of the Yud sphere is the bia. And through this, it's coming into being is drawn down. His havus, right? Meaning it's not just a life force, it's that something, whatever that is, it already gets into a form of existence. Okay, because chayus itself is not a form of existence. Okay. V'amashal for this is from the new Pa'ula, which we discussed above. Okay, that is clear, right? So what he is doing, he's like, okay, Malchus of Atzilus coming out into two aspects. One is the inner aspect and one is the external aspect. That's the gist of this, what we just read. Okay.
And that should be familiar to everybody because this is what we've been talking about since paragraph 11.
The only difference that it's not emtsai.
Right. Okay, so let's leave that alone for the moment.
Exactly. It was not intermediary, it's a pnimi. Okay, no problem. We got it. It goes into two. One is the inner dimension, one is the outer dimension. What happens next? It says, but you know what? Even for these two, we need the mashal of the light of the sun and the light of the candle. Why? That although the way the godliness creates, okay, it's very similar, like the soul enlivens the body, okay, and v'shaf'ah v'chein koach eloki, and when it gives its life force, it's also like the koach eloki, yimshach, okay, ha'pa'ula ha'aseh pa'ula chadasha, right, like the koach ha'poel, right? I never get how to translate this. Like, similar is like this divine koach is linked to the koach of an agent, right? Performing a new action. Great. Okay, that's very similar. So why we need this whole situation with the light of the sun and the light of the candle. Mitzad shebeiz bechinas elu, the chayus v'ishavus lo yimtzu bechinas or, because these two aspects we don't find in the light. Okay. Okay, so we don't see that the light is shining and giving life to. So why we need such a mashal? Do you understand this question? Why we need light of a candle and light of the sun to begin with? It's not such a good mashal. Why? Because it doesn't show that it gives any life force. So the light of the neshama, the way it enlivens the body, it's a perfect mashal. Why we need this light situation? But isn't it this is the perfect mashal? Or a sun shines on my, I don't know, my bottle and my bottle starts to fly? No. So why we need this mashal of the sun and the candle? It's enough to have the mashal of these, two mashalim. But he says no. Nevertheless, there is no resemblance between the divine light and the chayes of the soul and the koach hapoel. Okay, thank you. So why we have such a mashal? It's not really like that. Why? Because we see that we are having problem with that, because when my neshama enlivens the body, she cannot remove herself at the same time. Yeah, just 1 second. Somebody
Okay, so let me just say what I hear him saying here. He's taking these three mashalim that we should be very familiar with by now, the or, the chayos, and the koach. And he's telling us that if you look at the chayos and the koach, there are certain qualities in it that are like the light, and then there's certain qualities that about that mashal that is not going to work. And this is the birur that he's making here. Why do you need the mashal of light when you already have the chayas and the koach as a mashal? And this is what he's going to be explaining, because there's no one mashal that if you look at all of its details, that all of those details will be correct. So he's going to be saying here that the chayas of the soul, in some ways, is not a great mashal, because the godly light, unlike the soul in the body, the godly light can enliven many souls at the same time. So there's a limitation to that particular mashal. Okay, so this is really what he's going to be telling us. He's slowly saying this part of the mashal is what we need, and this part of the mashal doesn't work. Okay, Mila.
Right. So he says because the neshama is limited at that given moment, she's caught up just enlivening Mila right now. Okay, she will not be a good mashal for Hashem, because Hashem could enliven Mila and kill Hamas at the same time. He's not limited. Okay? He's not limited. Okay? My neshama cannot do that. Not because she cannot do that. She doesn't have permission to do that. And therefore, she's just stuck with this body. Hashem is not stuck with us. Okay? Hashem could be every detail, every breath of the creation, and yet be completely removed at the same time. Completely not change. And this is what we need to understand. And you know what? This is the hardest thing to understand in Chassidus. And that's for that reason, there is no sicha, there is no mama that will not touch on this idea. And it's still not enough because people are so fixed, they can't even wrap their head around it. That's why we need to do extensive hisbonenus and do, refine our brain, refine our membranes, okay, to wrap our head around this, because it's a very difficult concept. And I will actually show it to you, how it's such a difficult concept for even grown-ups to understand, okay?
Let's go back to the text and just...
Yeah, we're going back to this, okay? And it's not like this with the godly night. What is that?
You missed the paragraph about the koach.
So now the koach hapoel b'pulasai also has a problem. Why? The same story is, for example, right now, okay, I am speaking a word, let's say Hashem. At that given moment, when I speak the word Hashem, I cannot speak any other word. Well, I could speak any word after that. But b'shas ma'aseh, at the time of me speaking, okay, I have limitations. I cannot do two things at the same time, right? And therefore, Hashem is very different. We say, Shamar v'zachar b'dibur echad. Okay, Hashem was able to say Shamar v'zachar in one speech. I don't know how he did it. I cannot do such a thing, but he can do it. You understand? You know the song we say in Lechadadi, Shamar v'zachar b'dibur echad. That's what we're saying. That Hashem is capable to say Shamar v'zachar in one utterance. One. We cannot do that. okay? Because our speech is also koach, okay? We could think about one idea at the same time, okay? And let's say if somebody tries to understand a few ideas in the same time, he's going to go to a special institution, right? You cannot do this. Let's say somebody, I don't know, I'm lifting, let's say, my finger up. Although my finger could be going up and down and to all the sides, but at the time I'm lifting my finger up, I cannot put it down. I could do it later, a second later, but it's not like that. With Hashem is very, very different, okay? Even though is enclosed in the aspect of in the kalim and chitzonius of Yud spheres the biyah, okay, to enliven and to bring into being. At the same time, he is completely removed. To the point that he is able to be involved in another action simultaneously. Now, I want you to be very, very careful when we say about Hashem, Kadosh Umuvdal. Okay? And I'll explain you later why I'm saying that. What does Kadosh Umuvdal means? He's holy and separate. Now, that does not mean that he is not within the creation. Do you understand that? When we say that Hashem is Kadosh Umuvdal, it does not mean that he is out of creation. He's somewhere else. I don't know where he is. And he is completely separate. What we mean separate? Separate in a way we understand things. Separate meaning I can do X, Y, and Z. And because he is beyond that, that's why he can do other things. Muvdal here, it means beyond. Not separate in a way that he is not part of creation. Hashem is creation. Hashem is out of creation. Hashem within the creation. Hashem beyond the creation. Hashem doesn't have any limitation. Okay. And why am I saying this? Because a lot of people seems to be, I don't know, I thought it was, quite a simple thing. When they hear Kadosh or Muvdal, they think Hashem is somewhere where, beyond where they are.
So I guess what you're saying, Mile, is that's why we have the mashal of the chayas and the koach, because Hashem is simultaneously in, like the chayas and the koach, but like the light, he is koach, kodesh umuvdal.
Exactly.
So
Kadosh umuvdal means he's not caught up in this. It's at the same time, like it's very hard for us to wrap our head around it, but please do it. Try very, very hard to understand that it's two things at the same time. Okay? Because when people do not do that, they either make Hashem into Avodah Zarah, very physical. For this reason, that's why they build all kinds of getchkes and stuff like that. Or, which I'm going to illustrate now, okay, somebody completely removes Hashem away from creation, okay, and that's very, very dangerous because then we're saying that Hashem is not in the creation, Hashem is not here with us.
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
It was in yesterday's Tanya, I think, that it said that spatially there is no such thing in Ruach. Like there's no sense of space. So when it says that Hashem is Makif and Sobev, it actually means that he's just not revealed because he is in that place, but he's just not revealed there. Is that what you're saying? Is that what he's saying?
Also, yes, because people take these things in a very literal sense, understand? Because they don't have brains to understand other things, they take it in a very little things. What do you mean Kodesh Umuvdal? Hashem is removed from creation. He's not part of the creation. People could say that. I will actually show it to you, a big rabbi who said that. Okay? I was very, very shocked. Well, that definitely, not a Chabad rabbi, but people have that perception, unfortunately. Okay? And that's just very, very dangerous zone to go into. Okay? That means we need to refine our brain because we used to yesh le-yesh in this world, and we are mainly using our physical brain to understand these things, okay? We need to break our brain to understand spiritual concepts. Our brain has to become more fluid. And if we don't do that, it's a disaster. People become very fixed, and they're trying to understand with a brain of stone concept like this, and they make mistakes. Mainly, if this guy will be just, what's it called, selling bread, okay, who cares? But when these people become rabbis and they guide people in the avodah, okay, and they share the very fixed ideas with people, it's very, very dangerous. Okay.
Mila, can we go back to the text? Sorry, I'm insisting just so that we don't lose the thread, because
No, we're not losing the thread. So up until now, we have that Malchus of Atzilus coming down into the Bia divides into two aspects, right? The aspect of Chayus and the aspect of Koach. The aspect of Chayus and Koach would be a perfect mashal, but they're not. For the reason, because Chayus and Koach of the Neshama, they are caught up. Chayus to the specific body, Pa'ula, or Koach, to the limitation that at the time of the Pa'ula, person cannot perform another Pa'ula. There's no being could do at the same time, okay? With that organ. You might think and move, that's true, you could do that, okay? But you cannot move left and at the same time move right, okay? Now, with Hashem, it's not like that, because Hashem doesn't have that limitation. He could do two separate things at the same time, like we see in Yetzias Mitzrayim, right? That he was able to kill and heal. And therefore, it's more like the light, okay? Why it's more like the light? Because the light is shining. Just because it's shining through my windows that are red doesn't mean it cannot shine through somebody else's windows that are green. It's not limited. By sun shining, the light doesn't get caught up, okay? And as we say, there's a mimer, Ani havai lo shinitzi. I have not changed. The chinas ani, right, refers to the name of Hashem. That is the aspect of bechinas of Malchus Natzilus. Okay, fine. This is not essential, this part. It's good, like it brings proofs, right? In general, we see a lot of times they make statements, and just because they don't want to sound like fools, okay, they want to bring, what they call it, sources. Where are you getting this from? Okay, because everything is about getting sources. Okay, how you prove your idea, and that's very, very essential. Now, we don't have to be caught up with this in case like we didn't understand that. He already said what he said. Okay, very simple. Light, the power of Hashem through Malchus of Atzilus coming into the world in two ways, Chayus and Koach. Okay, we already know two mashalim for it, but they're not good. What do you mean they're not good? They're good for one purpose, of enlivening and movement, but they're not good to understand how Hashem is not caught up within this. Therefore, we need the sunlight. That's all. That's a kitzur of the kitzur of what we are discussing.
Right.
Okay.
So,
and then he said even more the detail about it. Even the klippas with sitra achra are coming from that. That's like, whoa. But you know what? If you think about it, where are they coming from? In Judaism, we do not believe in duality like Christianity believes. Christianity believes there's a God and devil. Okay? In Judaism, there's no such a thing. Everything is God. Everything comes from God. There's no two powers that are fighting and a good is going to prevail over evil. There's no such a thing. It's all Hashem. Even Klippa and Sitra Achra, it's all Hashem is creating, and they're being created by Hashem. Oh, you have a problem with that? You have to talk to Hashem. I don't know why he does this. Freedom of choice, people say whatever. Obviously, there are reasons why Hashem is doing it. But nothing is separate from the Achdus of Hashem. There's absolutely not even a single thing, a single pack of creation that is separate from the Achdus of Hashem. Okay. Nevertheless, they're all coming from the Or and from the Chayos, no questions. Okay. But one person might ask, so if Or is such a perfect mashal, why we need Chayos HaNefesh and Koach HaPoel B'Nifla? Why we need this? So what's the answer? Why we need? Hmm?
Are you asking us the question?
Yeah. So if the light is this unlimited mashal, why we need Koach HaNefesh?
Because we live in the real world. Now, when you say that we have to break our brains to get this concept, either I have a broken brain or I oversimplify things. But
No, but
really,
Nafama, why we need?
I don't see the contradiction.
No, but why we need? Because I'll tell you,
Because
why
we live in the physical world. Because
so what? No,
No,
it's not. No, that's not why. I'm telling you why we need. Okay, so you know what? What's it called? The sunlight is also physical. It's not spiritual. Okay, it's not one of the four matters. Who cares? It's physical. Okay, so if the sun is such a perfect mashal, okay, for creation, it's not limited. It's above. It's shining. Blah blah blah. Why we need the soul mashal?
For me, it's like you could say on a cloudy day that the sun's not there. But we know better
No,
that the
so
sun is
Nefama,
there and we just don't see it.
just think. Hashem is creating the world. He is enlivening the world. He makes everything move. Okay, he's breathing and all that. When sun, you see that doing it or not? No. The sun is shining on me right now. It's not enlivening me. Who is enlivening me? I know
But it's doing
enlivening.
both.
No, but you know did you ever
sun,
see a dead person? I've seen dead people, unfortunately. A dead person is a piece of meat, doesn't move, it's cold and it's hard. It becomes like a stick.
I know, I've done taharas.
Neshama leaves, that's it. It's a horrible scene. I said dead people 3 times in my life. It's horrible. It's literally just nothing. It has no power, it doesn't move. So when we want to bring out that Hashem enlivens, meaning gives life for the creation, sun is not good enough. Do you understand? Sun is great to show that Hashem is unlimited, meaning he's not caught up in one window. Amazing. But does it give life? No. Candle gives life? Here. It's lamp gives life? No. It gives light, but not life. So the neshama shows that it gives life. But the neshama is not good enough. Why? Because it's being caught up in one body. Hashem is not caught up. Yeah, you see how you have to think? It's back and forth, compare and contrast constantly. This is good and this is not good. And I think, you know what? How about each one of you will write an essay analyzing these 4 mashalim, what they are and what they're good at. You know how we used to do in school? I'll share my
look, Sylvia says something. This paragraph is very simple, and she says it correctly. The one mashal only refers to one aspect of Hashem's light, and different mashalim are needed for other aspects. It's that simple.
yeah.
It's not.
But there is something. 1 second. But there is something that we do in school. I'll show you. How do I share my? What is this? They do not a screen, but you know what I'm talking about? Blackboard with whiteboard. Okay, here we go. New whiteboard. Okay. You know what we could do? We could do like this. Okay. We have 4 mashalim, right? So we could make 4 circles like this. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we usually do, I guess we could do, you know what, we could do with 3. Let me just, I don't know how to do the erase. Oh my gosh, Baruch Hashem, they change so much that we cannot keep up. Okay, I'm just going to do it on the side. Let's say you take 2 mashalim, right? I think we could do 2 mashalim, meaning 2 here and 2 here. Because sun and the candle, a little bit, similar. The chayut of the soul and koach hapoel benifa also very similar, because it's like one category. Okay? So you could write over here, everything what sun gives and a candle gives, everything what the science gives, and what is being created here. Does that make sense? Over here in the middle, you write the best of all the mashalim put together. Here you put them separately. And here, what properties of the mashal is there? So let's just do it together. What do you think it is?
So let me put it this way. What does Chayos and Koach tell us about Hashem's light and how it works in Memale?
That it can only do one thing at a time.
Well, that's its
What it
limitation. You're
shows.
asking what it does. That's a good answer, but it's not. We didn't get to that question yet. What does it tell us about Hashem's light in the positive aspect? Like, why is it a useful mashal? How does it help you to
One is
understand?
inner and one is outer?
No, just in general, what does Chayas and Koach tell us about Hashem's light in this world?
That it enlivens the soul.
That it has
It's
the power to enliven. Yes, very good. That's what we understand from it. And then it also
But
goes
isn't that Chayas?
Exactly.
I remember Chayas was enlivens and Koach is action. But you can't
It's also very
take action
particular.
if you're not enlivened.
Yes. So one is general and one is more that goes into the details. That was the mashal.
Meaning one in generally enlivens, and the other one enlivens the particular organ, a particular movement, a particular thing. That's what we got into this, right? Meaning it's enlivens, and the koach provides in particular. Meaning it enlivens not just in general, not just globally. Oh, Hashem enlivens the world. No, Hashem enlivens the world and every detail. So that we get from koach, and every detail and every movement of the detail. Okay.
So that's what the mashal of Chayas and Koach informs us about how Hashem is in the world.
Meaning the details. Okay, you'll forgive my handwriting. Okay, good. What's or gives us?
I think I'm thinking of unconditional love. It's the light directly from Hashem that's not differentiated.
That's not psychologizing. I'm talking about just plain. What or gives us?
It's a direct connection.
No, chayus is also direct connection. I'm getting my chayus directly from my neshama. It's nothing else. Okay. I hope not.
What did we learn previously about the sun specifically that helped us to understand how Hashem is in the world.
That it's not diminished by when it by what it gives.
Okay, it doesn't change. Yeah, that's one thing. The light doesn't change.
And also, if we got it directly, you can't stare at the sun. If we got it directly, we would burn up.
Well, that's something you added. It was not something that was in the text.
Okay.
But so we get the idea that the ray of the sun, even though it can go through a blue window and look blue, the sun itself doesn't change. That was one thing that we learned. So we understand that Hashem can appear in different forms, as it were. The light can take on different forms based on the receiver, on the recipient. What else does it tell us? What else does light, for example, sunlight, tell us about Hashem? Miriam, you should remember this. It's a few paragraphs ago, but Miriam, we don't hear you if you're speaking. All right, anybody? No, Miriam, we can't hear you. You're muted. Okay, so we get a message here, Miriam, we're not hearing you. So BH says sun affects everybody simultaneously, meaning that the sun can be in South Africa and in Israel at the same time. It's not caught up.
Also, the sun is surrounding. It's makir.
Right. It's
And so is the candle.
it's sorry, Jons?
And a candle is also, it just gives light, but it's makir.
Right. So the limitation is that it doesn't enliven. So that's why we have these different mashalim. The light tells us one thing, and then within the light we have the candle as well. We're not going to go too much into that. That was or makif and or pnimi more. And we learned a lot more details, as Severe is mentioning, but we want to keep it simple here. We did learn about that, what Severe is mentioning. Okay, so now this paragraph is really asking, what is the limitation of the one mashal, of chayes and koach, and what is the limitation of the or? Why do we need both? And it's also really telling us, don't get confused by, if you start to think about Hashem's light as only being chayut, you could be misled, because not all aspects of chayut describe Hashem's light. This is where he's just making these distinctions. But it's really very simple. What is the limitation of the mashal of chayut and koach? Nechama, you said it previously.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What is the limitation of the mashal of chayot and koach? Why do we need another mashal?
Because if you only had chayas, you wouldn't have any action.
No, I'm talking about chayas and koach together as one category. Why do we need the mashal of or? What is it about the chayas and koach that don't describe the light?
Well, for instance, the koach in particular gives the example of how it can only do one thing at a time. The koach in the body can only do one thing at a time. The chayas, I'm not
No, the
sure.
chayas as well. It can only enliven one body. So that's where the mashal has a limitation. So that's why chayas and koach are limited to one particular body at one particular time. And now Hashem's light is not like that. So we need the mashal of or.
I'm not sure really that I understand that, because okay, I'm just taking that further. I'm not sure I really understand that, because if you
just
because
close your eyes.
people influence each other, and energy is transferable energy. So
we're talking about enlivening. So now just close your eyes and feel, that your body is enlivened right now by your neshama. And then move your fingers and you feel that you have koach as well, like the details are enlivened as well. You can speak, you can think, you can move, but it's you. It's just you.
Okay, so it's specific to the vessel.
Yes. One vessel. It's limited. Hashem's light is not like that. So we need the mashal of or. But what is the problem with the mashal of or? Why can't we just use the mashal of or? What is it about Hashem that is not described in the light?
It is too general. It's
Okay, BH says or does not enliven or animate. Exactly. The light is b'derech hashra. We learned that a few paragraphs ago. It just shines, the candle, for example, it just shows you what's in the room. It doesn't enliven anything. So we need to understand that Hashem has this quality of being separate like the light and being able to enliven like the chayas and koach. So that's why we need these two categories of mashalim.
so Nuria, does that mean that even though Hashem is doing both and it appears like they're separate, but they're not really separate because it's all coming from the same place?
I'm not sure that I understand the question.
That if everything comes from Or, everything is Hashem, but it needs
Okay.
to be separated into Chayas and Koach in order to enliven us. So even though it appears that Chayas and Koach are two separate forces or whatever you want to describe them as, but they really are one because they're coming from the same place in terms of Hashem's will.
What I'm hearing is that perhaps in my language, I'm confusing you because I'm saying Hashem's light, and I'm saying that in a general sense, or Eloki, and then there's the mashal of the or and the mashal of the chayot, meaning the mashal of the sunlight and the mashal. So perhaps that's confusing. When we're saying Hashem's light, we're not talking about the mashal of or. Maybe we should say the mashal of the sun and the mashal of the candle rather than or, because that can be confusing. Okay, I think
I'm confused enough. Thanks.
it's enough.
All
It's
right.
really, Mila, I think we can go on.
But I think it sounds like what you're saying, we're supposed to be confused.
No, you're supposed to be very simple. That's why I don't understand why it's confusing. Maybe the words make it confusing. He's just trying to say what mashal tells you about which aspect of Hashem, and you need the other mashal because it tells you about a different aspect of Hashem. That's all. Very simple. Mila, do you want to, let's continue.
That's pretty much it. There isn't much to continue. That's it. This is
So-
what
so you-
paragraph. This is what paragraph 16 is.
You said that you had something that you wanted to share.
Oh yeah.
Look, we
Okay,
were supposed to
hang
do
on.
paragraph 17.
But we don't have time to do that. Bezrat
Yeah.
Hashem. We'll do that next time. But there is something very interesting that popped in. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is a whole series of Seal Life articles that are coming out that wood hunting people who do alternative medicine.
Right,
I
breath
don't know
work.
why. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why it has been like I go, I run a school, so I need to know what's going on in the world, especially in the Lubavitch world. So I go almost every day to check Seal Live, what's happening, what's news, right? And I just coming across this very interesting articles. Just I would say every 2 weeks, another article pops in attacking breath work, attacking meditation, attacking all kinds of things. And it started like about, I would say, maybe 6 months ago. You know, there was one article came in, there's another guy was promoting his business in breath work. And after that, right away, another article came in. And it kind of caught my attention because I myself involved in different, you know, 2 of my workshops that I give involve breath. And I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, what's the problem with breathing? You know, and yeah, and like recently, an interesting article came in by Seal Live interviewing a big rabbi who is apparently right now gives a lecture to one of the organizations in Crown Heights. They use alternative medicine for psychological purposes. Okay, that's called Neshamos. It's organized by Dr. Rosen. They give clinical help, psychologists, therapists, and part of the work was also breath work. So when the whole witch hunt started about breath work practitioners doing avodah zarah, so quote, all of a sudden, this organization felt they want to kind of, you know, legitimize themselves, and they got a Rav who is machshir, right, the work, which is, you know, very normal thing to do. Like if I do kosher meditation and people are attacking meditation, Eastern type of meditation, I also probably would want to, I don't know, get like a Rav's okay that my work is not nagea to this witch hunt. Anyway, it was very cute to see. And now this Rav said something. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to bring this to our Shara Yichud group. Because he said in his attempt to puzzle the breath work and all that, he made something very interesting. I'm not going to say who that is because I don't want to be part of Lashon Hara, but we're just going to focus on the actual words from the recording I typed. There was a recording that he gave. It was like, what they call it? Like an interview with him, okay? Now, this is what he said. I'm going to read it for you, okay? He said, one second, let me just, you know, get my text straight. Okay, so he says, the vast universal consciousness, they believe that Hashem permeates everything. That's avodah zarah, because you are making God into something physical. The idolatrous religions believe that everything is a part of God. We are not part of God. Torah says explicitly that we are not part of God. He is separate, completely divorced and separate. Bore. God is not any part of the Nivra. Eastern religions do not agree with that. Eastern religions have a heretical viewpoint and the sacrifice and do service and daven to this. And they try to manipulate this energy. In Eastern religions, the most highest form is something, I couldn't hear what he actually said, means I cease to exist. I do not exist and become part of this overall energy. Now, this is the belief system. Now, when they took breathing and use it, they become null and connect and become part of that Godhead. Okay, now when I listened to that, it was all the way in the beginning. I jumped when he said, we are not part of God. I was like, oh. So I did some research on this rabbi. He's not a Lubavitch, obviously, and he does not study Chassidus. Okay, so
Mila, could I ask a question?
No, not yet. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just give me a few minutes. Now, I just want to conclude with that. And I just felt like this is mamish, a whole difference. Where is he getting his ideas from? Because we should know, as Chassidim is a good part of history, we should definitely be familiar with what was the actual machlokes between Vilna Gra and the Alter Rebbe. What was the fight about? What was the disagreement about, to the point that Vilna Gra said what he said, and it caused really a big terem, a big chil Hashem, and all that stuff. And it's really, really an understanding of Tzimtzum Kipshute or Tzimtzum Lo Kipshute. That's one thing. Okay. The other difference was that Alter Rebbe stood that Hashem recreates the world every single moment.
Mhm.
And Vilna Gaon had different views. I actually didn't, study what his view were, but we kind of, as Chassidim, we kind of want to focus on what the Rebbe's view is. And we could actually see how this manifests a simple halacha. You might think like, oh, who cares, right? What Vilna Gra thinks, what Misnagdim used to think. And as long as it's halacha, Well, the aspect of halacha that actually overlaps just the basic physical actions that a Jew does, right? Especially when we're talking about the ideas of emunah, the ideas of belief. So now it's a clear illustration that in the pursuit to devalue and warn a congregation against possible form of avodah zarah with the breath work, he said along the way a few sentences that were a clear cut, not befitting Chabad audience, because not only Chabad audience, people who actually connect to Chassidus and beyond, because Chassidus is for everybody. It's not just for Lubavitchers. It was very, very interesting to see, that viewpoint, because for us, I felt it was very, very interesting, because that's exactly what that's exactly what the work that we're studying is trying to prove to us. That Hashem is in the pnimius of Kalim, and Hashem is the chitzonius of Kalim, and there's Imtayim Kalim that connect both of them. And this whole long story about Malchus of Atzos. And at one point, when I was studying it, I was like, so who cares? Why we need to work so hard to understand how Hashem enlivens the world? And it's not like this, and there's a much shalom, and it's simply because this person still is under influence of the two questions of the philosophers. This guy cannot wrap his head around it. How could it be that Hashem is Kadosh Umuvdal and at the same time be part of the whole of creation? I think he has only second part of the question. Okay, Hashem is Kadosh Umuvdal, is not part of the creation. And Chassidus says, no, it's both. Hashem is every detail of creation, and at the same time not caught up with this. And you understand now what's going on. It's like, for me, I was like, wow, like this is a pure illustration. What happens to a person when he does not study Chassidus? But it was just like so obvious. And if you see the comments by this article, and people say like, oh, is this guy is from Vilna Gra? Now he's going to come to teach us that Tzimtzum is Kipshute. It was really funny. I mean, the comments were really, really funny. I hope this rabbi is going to survive through this, through this public humiliation. But yeah, it was cute. But don't go on Seal Live and give such a public interview if you want to preserve your dignity. But anyway, it was very, very interesting. Now, it's not about breath work or not promoting anything, but this is something to think deeply about in general. This is what we're learning. So, yeah, Tzivia, you wanted to say something?
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry, I was there when the call of the shofar became a big controversy, and I had traveled from South Africa with a More to Life associate trainer who's now a senior trainer together, because I was a facilitator. We ran a More to Life course, Power of Self-Esteem. And while the course went beautifully, and the only thing that could be questioned as a shaila is that people relived in their mind their experiences that triggered them. That's all, which required breathing and reliving it in your mind's eye. That was like the only thing you could see. But
the ladies became so like scared. They were so frightened by the rabbis coming out to against the call of the shofar, even though there's no connection. That a lot of people, after the course was over, said, "Just take my name off your list. I know, I don't want to have anything to do with this." And it's so debilitating. The more to life work actually comes directly, not directly, from Viktor Frankl, who the Rebbe actually encouraged so that he continued his work. If it wasn't for the Rebbe, more to life wouldn't exist. So,
but Tivia, I'll tell you where all of it is streaming. Yeah, all of this is streaming from ignorance.
Yes, I agree.
It's like, well, I'll tell you, I'm going to bring another example.
But Mila, I think the big problem with call of the shofar breathing was the hyperventilation. They encourage this hyperventilation, which puts you into a a different mental state. And that's not the same as regular breath work. You don't have to do hyperventilation.
No, but we're not even going into details, El Kalea. We're not even there. Question is a very, very simple one. Is
I understand what you're
very
saying about
interesting that
the Rav.
it's
Yeah,
crazy
everybody's
what
going to
he
ask
said
the Rav.
about. No, it's crazy what he said
everybody
about
has
the
their own
channel.
Rav, and not one breath work. It has nothing to do with another type of breath work. And what I'm trying to say is the ignorance. What I mean by ignorance, just because you do not know how things work, okay, in a particular methodology, doesn't make everything treif. They say it about the shilas on Tarsa Mishpacha. Okay, the Rav who is very, very strict usually is a new Rav. Okay, because an experienced Rav knows which color is what, and he could paskin. He's much more lenient. Interestingly, right? If you think about it, like, isn't it be more machmir is more? No, because when you know your halacha, you know your colors, you're more matir. You know what's real and what's not real. Okay, and you could guide your community accordingly. So the same thing is here. The problem here is not what all this, what's allowed, what's not allowed. Everybody, I know a beautiful Rav, Rabbi Ullman, who is the head of the Beis Din in Sydney. He takes his time to really investigate very complicated, very difficult halachic issues about fertility, about who is Jew, who is not a Jew, and all this. So he, Baruch Hashem, took on himself to investigate all these possibilities of Avodah Zarah. If any shalas, he's really an expert in this. And he's also a Lubavitcher, and he's a shliach in Sydney. And that's not the shaila. The question is that making such a bold statement about the ikar of the emunah, what we are learning about here, I'm telling you, I was really compelled. I wanted to write all what's written in Chassidus about how Hashem is a part of creation. There would be no creation if Hashem wouldn't be here. How can you say that Hashem is not part of the creation? I mean, it was really interesting, but it's interesting to see that still people believe in this, because obviously he felt comfortable to say what he said, right? He was speaking to public. He knew about it. It's not somebody he's sitting by the Farbrengen and somebody, quietly recording him. He knows that it's going to be public. So that shows even more that there are people who have these beliefs. This is very interesting.
But Mila,
Can I
say something?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was around when college shofar started and all of that, and I feel, in a sense, this is politics. That the Rabbanim are fearing of anything that's going to rock their boat, and also this thing of Avodah Zarah is really interesting. People would say you can't do this because this was what do you call it? I can't think of the word, but anyway, so the goyim do this and the goyim do that, and he said, well, the goyim have babies too. Should we stop doing that? So I don't know. And I agree with you. It's ignorance. But it's this fear of anything being different than exactly the way we're doing it now. And in this whole discussion on COO Live, there was some very intelligent responses that came that look what's happening here. You know, people were going to this because their needs were not being met in our community in the way we learned Chassidus. It was all chutzonius. So they're looking for more. So instead of saying, you know, puzzle this and puzzle that, let's look and how can we meet the needs of those people who are going quote unquote elsewhere or
Nechama, your
doing something
words,
different.
thank you for voicing it. Just this Shabbos, you know, it was brought up and a few people came over to me in 770 discussing this. And I told them, you know what? We don't need to go far. Let's go to Medrash. What Medrash talks about? Moshe Rabbeinu and the burning bush. It's a beautiful Medrash. I all the time I don't know why people don't study Medrash. I think a lot of the questions would be answered. Moshe Rabbeinu, what's the story goes, right? There's a Moshe Rabbeinu. He's watching the flock of Yisrael, right? And there's a little shapsala that runs off his whole herd, and he runs after it, and he runs and runs and runs, and then he sees that she wanted to drink water from a stream, and he, you know, lets her finish drinking water. He picks her up and says, "I'm so sorry, I wasn't taking care of your needs." Okay, so at that moment, Hashem said, "Wow, what a leader!" Right? Watches about every single shepsel in his flock. I want him to be watching my flock. Okay, amazing. And he reveals himself by the burning bush. At that moment, that was a whole revelation. Hashem anoints in the way, right? Moshe Rabbeinu to be the leader of the Jewish people, gives him a task. Go and redeem my people. They talk for 7 days. Now, between me and you, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was not a simple person, okay? Now, can you really believe that he was not feeding his shepselach and giving them water? I mean, you know what? I used to have chickens. I took very good care of them. I made sure that they have food and water every single morning, cleaning them and watching after them. How can I envision Moshe Rabbeinu doing a lousy job of taking a simple halacha of taking care of your animals before you take care of yourself? And how can we think this little shepsel was so thirsty that she ran off because Moshe Rabbeinu didn't give her enough water? Does that make sense? No, it does not make sense. He was, you know, quite a grown-up man, a holy person, performed miracles. Well, he's not going to take care of his shepselach. What am I talking about? But nevertheless, this particular shepsela had a different desire. She wanted to drink a different type of water. And instead of reprimanding her, saying, "Excuse me, didn't I give you water? Didn't I give you food?" Right? He acknowledged that, hey, perhaps there is something I overlooked. You probably wanted to drink a stream water versus the water that I gave you. And you know what? This is what makes a leadership leadership. When you see your flocks straying off to drink other water, a true leader asks themselves a question: what am I not giving them enough? That's all. As simple as that. But instead of doing that, they're saying, "Oh, this is Avodah Zarah, this is Avodah Zarah, this is you're not allowed to do this," as if people wouldn't know otherwise. So ask yourself a question. What are they seeking in those places? What is that they're getting it there that you are not getting it? The other Ketava was like, "Oh, everything is in Chassidus." No problem. So teach Chassidus in a way that people will not be looking elsewhere, the way it was meant to be. How many courses on this Bainanus you know there's out there? How
Can
many?
I have
Literally.
something, Mila?
Sure.
So many, many years ago, a long time ago, I had the thought that bothered me very, very much that Yiddishkeit is very disembodied. It's in the head or in the stomach, like eating and whatever, and very like the body was not part of things unless it was eating your Shabbos meal or your Yom Tov meal or whatever. And I was thinking that this is not healthy and this is disconnected and something is wrong because there's all this, there's exercise, there's yoga, there's all these practices that are good for your body that I had as a young child. I'm a Balas Tshuva, and it's missing. All this body experience is missing, like the healthful body experience. Where is it? And it belongs. It's there. It really belongs in a wholesome life, and that's what bodies are needing. And as we get closer to Mashiach, when Hashem is more manifest in the physical world, and the physical world, somehow the body is more important. It's getting there. Like we're filling the gaps, and they're needed.
Yeah, the
Disembodied is not how we're
question
meant to
is,
be.
right, the question is, Sylvia, that's where I find that the ignorance is there, is that to truly understand what the body means in Eastern philosophies and what the body means in a Jewish philosophy. And that's what we need, that clarification to somebody, or whoever that may be who is going to undertake this, to help us understand where is that line. And that line might be a very, very thin line, right? But where's that line where differentiate holy from Avodah Zarah? Where
So
is that line?
every person
And
is
if we're just
a
gonna,
rav.
so we need to, that's what I'm trying to say. And not a Rav
We're
who doesn't
brand new.
understand Chassidus. It has to be a Rav who is qualified, who have studied enough Chassidus, okay, who knows how to embody Chassidus, because this is exactly why Chassidus was revealed in the world.
So,
Okay.
Mila, can I just intervene here and try to bring it back to, away from, these other things and back to our text and what we're trying to do here. Just briefly before we close. Sylvia, I really thought that what you're going to say is not about the body, but that, we have the mind and we have the stomach, but we're not bringing things into the heart, or
Yes.
we're not bringing, so for example, we've just learned this paragraph. How do we bring it down into something that is more meaningful to us? So for me, what Mila said really simplifies the paragraph. Forget about call of the shofar and all these other things. What I heard Mila saying is really a rabbi can come along and say, Hashem, there's a pasuk that says Hashem is muvdal. Hashem is kadosh and muvdal, and that's it. And now Reb Hillel is going into a lot of detail to explain to us. Yes, Hashem is kadosh and muvdal, but Hashem is also chayos and koach. Hashem is also inside each one of us, just like a soul is inside a body, not just in a general way, but in detailed ways. So what I would suggest is let's just try this. We've had a lot of information coming at us. Let's just close our eyes for a few minutes and really just feel for yourself what he's talking about. So feel those different mashalim. Close your eyes and just take a breath. We're not doing breath work, but just become aware of your breath. And we want to just think about what it is that we've been learning, all the different things. So just become aware of your body being supported by the chair and let yourself be supported. And become aware of your breath moving through your body. So you're just relaxing your body. And as you become aware of your breath moving through your body, just think about this mashal of, the reality of your soul enlivening your body. What does that feel like inside of you? The chayos, the general life force that is inside of you. And then become aware of the koach, which is the life force that goes into the details of your body, into your fingers that can move, into your toes, your feet that can walk, your heart, the pounding of your heart, all the details, that energy going into all the edges and the details of your body. That's the chayas and the koach. That's one of the ways in which Hashem enlivens the world. But then there's a light that's surrounding you. Become aware of the space around you. The sunlight surrounding you that's coming in through the window. And how does that teach you about Hashem? And then go back and forth between the surrounding light and the internal energy of your body. And just sit and think about that for a moment and everything that we've been learning and see what comes up. You can ask questions, you can just contemplate just a few minutes. And then bring your attention back to your breath. Become aware of your body being supported by the chair. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I'm just curious, did anything come up for anybody that was interesting to you? An understanding, a question, feeling?
For me, when in the beginning, when it was just Hashem enlivening your body and the different limbs, I just felt like I wanted to get up and dance, whether there was music playing or not. And then with the Hashem's light surrounding, that was just felt like just supported and like it's okay. And the reason why I say that it's okay is because like I don't like to dance at weddings usually, but I think it's because of the self-consciousness. And I just felt really validated, like you don't have to worry about what other people say. Although I think you do, but and that I just felt really like it's okay. Both aspects were okay, that I could express myself freely and also be self-contained. It's almost like you could speak and then you could also appreciate the silence.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
I had the experience of realizing that this is completely a body experience. And where is Hashem? In my breath, in my heart, in my limbs, in my bloodstream, in every aspect of my body. That's my highest. That's Hashem enlivening me, and it was very beautiful. Maria, thank you. I really appreciated going from the space that was a bit chaotic into the calm of internal awareness of my bodily function, which is highest. It's life force. It's my life force. It's Hashem within me. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tzibia.
Okay.
Miriam, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, for me, the concept of a candle came to me that it requires an arousal from below, and maybe that's something about our desire, our drawing down of divine light. And the highest was that there's no specific place where it's located. You can't point to it. You can't say it's there or it's there. So that's just what came to me in this short-term meditation.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, the candle is, like you say, it's the arousal from below. That's the yun, because the candle is in the brain, mashal of the light of the candle. So yeah, it works with what you're saying. Yoni, it looked like you wanted to say something.
I just felt like the highest. I was comparing the energy of the light and the highest, and the highest seems to. It's like it has its personality. It's godliness, but it has a unique personality that is the person themselves. So it's like a unique part of Hashem. And then the koach seems to be the way the chayos interact with the world and with whatever is happening around it.
Okay. So really, this is, when you're studying, the idea is with Hisbonenus that first you study and then you contemplate, then you meditate. Because we want to make these ideas real. I mean, that meditation was maybe 4 minutes maximum. And it really takes the concepts, like Tzivia was saying, it's too much in the brain. And you just feel it and think about it. And it becomes something that's more felt, more tangible, and more real. It's to do with, all of this is really to do with us. It just feels like a lot of words and concepts at a certain point. So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you for thank you for doing that. And
Thank you, Nerea. That was really beautiful, Baruch Hashem.
yeah, I think we need to do it more. But the thing is that we really need to understand the text in order to do it. So that's the process.
Can I share that I noticed that Mila had to go off on the tangent and the subject that she did for you to bring it back to have this beautiful experience. So it tied everything together.
Baruch Hashem. That's why there are two of us. All right. So B'ezrat Hashem, we'll meet here again next week. And in the meantime, yeah, just to live with that feeling of
Gloria,
having Hashem inside of us. Yes, Sylvia.
I'm sorry. I had a question on Mila's tangent. When
Okay.
she said that Avodah Zarah, that everything, that Hashem is in us, what is Chelek Elokai Mimal Mamash? Doesn't that mean Hashem is in us? I didn't understand what
This means
Mila...
we are in Hashem. That's what it means. You know why Hashem is called Makom? By the way, do you know why Hashem called Makom? It's not, people think that Hashem fills the place. No, we are in Hashem.
We are in him, he's not in us?
It's Alachas Kama B'Kama. It's not only that he is in us, but we are in him.
So
that's
you're saying
Hashem is Mekomo Shel Olam. Hashem is the place of the world. It's not Hashem just fills the world. For sure he does. But the world is in him because there's nothing outside of God. Do you get it?
I kind of get it, but I need to explain it to someone who's connected to a guru and is saying, well, God is in us, and I'm like almost agreeing because that's what I thought Chelek Elokai Mimal meant.
It is. What Chelek Elokai Mimal means? We are part of Hashem. Chelek, we are part of Elokai Mimal lehishtalshelus, above the hishtalshelus. We are part of Hashem. Not only that Hashem is part of us, but we are the part of him.
Right.
But listen, Avodah Zarah, for it to stand on any feet, will definitely use the language which comes from truth. We don't have to say like, no, it's not this. Everything what Avodah Zarah says is not true. It's not true. They, in order to legitimize themselves, will use certain language which is true. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But we need to be very careful to understand where it becomes distorted. The beginning might sound very appealing. And that's what I said. You need to have knowledge and expertise to differentiate between a hairline, in a way. Where?
Also, Rambam speaks about how initially people, it's not that they worship trees, which is like Avodah Zarah. They didn't worship objects. They initially, that was like a secondary thing. They knew that there was Hashem, but it was easier for them to use a tree because it's very hard to do something abstract. So if you look at the Rambam, he talks about the fact that it was a process, that initially Avodah Zarah, people were worshiping things like trees. They knew that it wasn't that the tree wasn't a god. They knew there was God, but they needed something physical. Then over time, people really started to see that, statues or whatever it is, of, real Avodah Zarah. So you have to also know, I guess, how it works. But I think it's difficult to explain it to somebody unless you're very knowledgeable. That's
right. And that's why it's very, very essential to really go to an expert Rav, because in this attempt to show them how they are wrong, we should not sound like this Rav, basically. That's the bottom line.
Right.
The bottom line. Okay.
Right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All
amazing.
Right.
Love you all,
everybody.
and I will see
Bye.
we'll see you next week.